1909, hundreds of garment workers, mostly women, gathered at Cooper Union Hall in New York City. After hours of male union leadership, talking and talking and talking, a 23-year-old woman, Clara Lemlich, fresh out of the hospital after being beaten up by cops on a picket line, disrupted one of the male speakers and took to the stage. She declared in Yiddish, "I am a working girl, one of those who are on strike against intolerable conditions. I am tired of listening to speakers who talk in general terms. I have no further patience for talk. I move we go on general strike." Clara was met with roaring applause, and in the next few days, over 20,000 garment workers, predominantly Jewish and Italian recent immigrant women, walked off the job. This strike became known as the Uprising of the 20,000, and to this day is one of the largest strikes in U.S. history. In February 1910, the International Ladies Garment Workers Union, the ILGWU, negotiated for hundreds of factories to sign a union contract guaranteeing better wages and safer working conditions. One of the factories that refused to sign the contract, however, was the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory, where just over a year later, 146 workers, mostly immigrant Jewish and Italian women, were killed when a fire tore through the factory in what remains one of the deadliest industrial disasters in U.S. history. Workers of the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory worked 7 days a week for 11 hours a day and on average made $6 per week. They knew that the factory was unsafe and they had been demanding changes for years. Instead, the management refused to install sprinklers and they locked the doors so union organizers could not get in, and therefore no one could get out when the fire began. The fire drove even more demand for change and ultimately led to the passage of some of the first and most important workplace health and safety laws in the United States. However, it should not have taken this tragedy for substantial changes to be made. Like Clara and her co-workers in the New York City sweatshops in the early 20th century, we at UNC are working under, as she called it, intolerable conditions. We do not make a living wage, and our workplace is incredibly unsafe. We are here today to demand UNC pays us and pays all of its workers a living wage. And like Clara and her co-workers, we must also demand a safer and healthier workplace. The workplace safety hazards we face at UNC, although perhaps less immediately visible than the lack of sprinklers at the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory, are still abundant. For example, UNC students are not allowed university-excused absences for highly communicable diseases, including the flu, RSV, pink eye, and COVID-19.
Shame!
Not only does this hurt the individual student who is sick, it also threatens the health of their classmates and puts us as workers at risk. For those graduate workers who, like me, are immunocompromised, this is even more dangerous. In another example, in 2023, despite 2 years of work, lead was still detected in the water of 64 buildings at UNC.
Yay!
Today, many of these remain unfixed, and the labels that are supposed to tell you if a water fixture is safe are often not even filled out. Our workplace does not care about our health enough to even guarantee us access to clean drinking water. These are just two of the many ways that UNC's disregard for its students and for its workers endangers all of us and makes our workplace unsafe. It is clear that UNC does not care about the health and safety of its workers, nor its students who are also workers. This has become even more evident the past 2 weeks. A week ago, in a decision condemned by the ACLU, Chancellor Robert E. Lee announced that UNC would comply with ICE and allow them on campus, threatening all immigrant members of the UNC community.
Yay!
This Wednesday, Muslim UNC students were harassed inside their prayer room by a man who came on campus to target their community and spew Islamophobic hate speech. There has yet to be any acknowledgement or condemnation of this incident from the UNC administration, which is unacceptable.
Yay!
Fighting back against all the ways this university makes this campus an unwelcoming and unsafe environment for its students and for its workers is also a part of our fight for higher wages and better working conditions. After the events of 1909 to 1911, Clara Lemlich became a lifelong labor organizer and activist. And as she was dying in her 90s, she even organized the staff of her nursing home into a union. Clara Lemlich is my heroine, and she inspires me every single day. She and the other Jewish women in the labor movement also play a significant role in what I study. But how could I be expected to produce this scholarship when I only make 42% of a living wage? Here today, as we fight for better working conditions and living wages, we are following in the footsteps of Clara and her comrades, and like them, we are stronger together, and ultimately, together we will win. To quote the anthem of their union, "United we're strong, let us march towards the dawn of a brave new workers' world. We'll build and we'll fight, and we'll rise in our might." Thank you.